Welcome to This Explainer. If you've ever looked into body contouring, you've probably run into a really common, honestly, kind of frustrating dilemma. You work incredibly hard to lose fat, or maybe you're even considering liposuction to help get rid of it, but then you're faced with the issue of skin laxity. Basically, what happens to the skin once that fat is finally gone? For a long time, the only real answer to lose skin was a major surgical lift, which unfortunately comes with long scars. But today, we are setting the stage for two non-surgical heavyweights that have completely changed the game.
Okay, let's dive into this. The aesthetic world is just constantly evolving, and right now, the two absolutely biggest names dominating the conversation around skin tightening without major surgery are BodyTite and Renuvion. But how do you actually know which technology is the right fit for your body, your specific goals, and your recovery timeline? Well, that is exactly the question we are answering today.
Before we pit these brands against each other, let's lay down a quick foundation. What are we actually talking about when we say subdermal skin tightening? Unlike traditional lasers that treat the outside surface of your skin, these are minimally invasive procedures. They work by delivering energy directly beneath the skin, subdermally, to heat up and contract the tissue literally from the inside out. Now, they don't remove bulk fat on their own, which is why you'll see them very frequently paired with liposuction to achieve that complete, sculpted body contouring result.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by meeting the contenders, then do a deep dive into BodyTite, followed by a deep dive into Renuvion. After that, we'll put them in a head-to-head comparison, and finally, we'll wrap up with realistic expectations and recovery.
All right, Section 1, meet the contenders.
Both of these devices are FDA cleared and aimed at the exact same patient group, people looking to tighten moderate body skin laxity. But they go about it in very different ways. And this brilliantly illustrates the foundational technologies driving each device. On one side, we have BodyTite, which utilizes bipolar radiofrequency paired with gentle suction. Think of BodyTite as the highly reliable veteran. It delivers very controlled thermal energy. On the other side, we have Renuvion, which uses a really unique combination of helium plasma and monopolar radiofrequency. Renuvion is kind of the rapid innovator here, driving subdermal contraction using a super-fast plasma pulse.
Moving right along, Section 2, deep dive into BodyTite.
Developed by InMode, BodyTite really became the absolute go-to workhorse for treating areas like the upper arms, abdomen, and back fat back in the mid-2010s. So it comes into this comparison with a highly predictable, rock-solid track record of over 10 years in the aesthetic space. The secret to BodyTite really lies in its bipolar architecture. Imagine a small internal probe, called a cannula, that goes just beneath the skin through a tiny little port. Connected to that handpiece is an external roller that gently glides over the top of the skin. The radiofrequency current flows narrowly, predictably, and incredibly safely straight between that internal probe and the external roller. It targets the tissue exactly where it needs to, rather than just shooting wildly through bulk tissue.
What makes this whole process so fascinating and super safe is something called a closed-loop thermistor. Think of it like a highly advanced smart home thermostat. You set your house to 72 degrees, and the system constantly monitors the air, immediately shutting off the heat the millisecond it hits that target. Well, BodyTite does exactly that. It holds the dermal temperature precisely within the specific therapeutic window required to actually tighten skin, and it features an automatic cutoff at safety thresholds to completely prevent overheating. It's a very calculated, gradual heating process that typically follows lipoaspiration to wrap up the procedure beautifully.
Okay, Section 3, deep dive into Renuvion.
Originally known as J-Plasma and developed by Apex Medical, Renuvion takes a qualitatively different approach to achieving that sought-after skin tightening. Instead of a slow, gradual heat, Renuvion utilizes helium gas that flows through a handpiece and is instantly ionized into a plasma stream by radiofrequency energy. If BodyTite is a smart thermostat slowly and safely warming up a room, Renuvion is more like a rapid, incredibly controlled lightning bolt delivered precisely beneath the skin.
Because it uses this intense plasma energy, Renuvion delivers a very rapid thermal pulse. We're talking just 2 to 3 seconds per treatment point. This causes an immediate soft tissue contraction right there at the subdermal plane. What's actually incredible about this is that the operators can physically see visible contraction happening in real time during the session. This immediate feedback gives surgeons immense confidence while they're working. It also allows for highly consistent feathering. Basically, that means the surgeon can smoothly blend the treated areas right into the untreated boundaries for a totally seamless, natural look.
All right, Section 4, head-to-head comparison. Let's stack them up.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is where these two technologies actually align and where they diverge. Notice that the physical impact on the patient is virtually identical. Both require only tiny 2 to 3 millimeter incisions per port. Both can be done completely awake under local anesthesia with tumescent fluid. Both require about 5 to 10 days of downtime. However, the underlying energy mechanisms are entirely different, and the costs slightly diverge too, with Renuvion sometimes reaching a bit higher on the upper end. That's likely due to the consumable helium and the highly specialized handpieces that are required for it.
So based on those profiles, when exactly should you pick BodyTite? Well, BodyTite is absolutely ideal if you are prioritizing a really long safety track record. Most seasoned practitioners have performed hundreds, if not thousands of cases with it. It's also phenomenal for patients seeking predictable, gradual tightening, especially in small to moderate areas like the upper arms, the flanks, or the inner thighs. Plus, if you're a bit budget sensitive, or if you highly value that closed-loop temperature safety mechanism that pretty much prevents operator error, BodyTite is just a fantastic choice.
In contrast, Renuvion absolutely shines when you're treating much larger zones where speed is really crucial. Because of that incredibly rapid 2 to 3 second pulse, large areas can be treated so efficiently. It's also the go-to for cases where invisible feathering into untreated skin is required, particularly on wide, flat areas like the abdomen and the back. Or, hey, if you are already undergoing a massive fat removal procedure, like a 360 lipo, or if your board-certified surgeon simply prefers the immediate visual feedback of the plasma drive mechanism, then Renuvion is almost certainly the winner for your treatment plan.
Finally, Section 5, Realistic Expectations and Recovery. This is, without a doubt, the most important part of our explainer today. We have to ground all this cool science with a serious reality check on what these devices can and absolutely cannot do. First up, we need to bust some common myths. Neither of these devices is a magic wand. Neither BodyTite nor Renuvion replaces a surgical body lift or a tummy tuck if you have severe post-bariatric skin excess. The golden rule of thumb here is, if you can pinch 10 or more centimeters of redundant skin, surgical excision is simply going to outperform both of these devices, period. Also, neither device removes significant volumes of fat on its own, and despite what some flashy marketing online might claim, neither device reverses stretch marks. Only concomitant treatments like laser or microneedling can actually help with those. So the crucial point is this specific number right here, 30 to 40%. For both of these devices, a 30 to 40% skin surface reduction at the treated zones is considered a highly successful, reasonable outcome after you've fully healed. This is all about significant, very noticeable improvement. It's not about achieving absolute flawless physical perfection. I absolutely love this patient-reported outcome because it sets such a healthy mental framework. Patients often say they get mid-30s or 40 skin in their 50s. The whole goal of these technologies is meaningful rejuvenation and firming. It's about looking absolutely fantastic for your current stage in life, not completely turning back the clock to when you were 18. Let's move to and see how this builds across your actual recovery journey. The healing timeline is a true chronological progression. In the first 48 hours, you're going to be in a compression garment with some mild swelling and bruising. By days 3 to 7, that swelling peaks and thankfully starts to recede. Between weeks 2 and 4, the bruising resolves and you'll actually start to feel the skin becoming notably firmer to the touch. But the real magic? That happens between weeks 8 and 12, when tightening becomes visibly noticeable when you look in the mirror. Finally, you will hit your absolute peak, beautifully contoured result right around month 4 to 6.
And you know what the best part is? Both of these incredible devices produce results that maintain really well for 3 to 5 whole years, provided your weight remains relatively stable. We've explored the gradual, predictable safety of BodyTite's radio frequency, and we've seen the rapid, instant feedback power of Renuvion's helium plasma. Armed with this knowledge, you are now perfectly prepared to have an informed, highly specific consultation with a board-certified plastic surgeon. So, with a 3 to 5 year longevity on the line, which skin tightening technology will you choose to sculpt your future?